I believe that the process of buying and selling a home and working with people who need to buy and sell homes must be simpler. There was Brokerage 1.0, which was, I want to buy a house. I want to go to the real estate agent's office. He's going to tell me what's on the market for sale. If I like him, he'll show me things. We'll see signs out there. Maybe there's a cupcake involved and we buy it and there's a significant amount of paperwork, right? Brokerage 2.0 is saying, okay, how do I take all that and put it in your phone or your computer so that you say, hey, thank you so much, Brokerage 2.0, for giving me all these screens. But over here, Brokerage 3.0, I don't even need the screens because the screens do the work for me. Just because the market changes, people change, so you gotta pivot. And then what we're also starting to do is using AI to do things like, so this is me in Chinese giving a property tour of one of our videos, about one of our...
欢迎来到 Huron 布鲁克林最新的建设住宅开发项目。
Are you creating tech, like in-house tech and stuff, like for?
Yeah, and really what it is... Actually, I don't want to tell you what it is.
You don't have to.
I want to be kind of careful here.
All right, Matt Brain back here with Back Disrupt Podcast. Really excited to have Ryan Serhant here at your amazing office. We had to get the cameras going because we were getting some good material right out the gates, man.
Yes.
But I appreciate you coming on. Back Disrupt's all about, interviewing and having conversations with the innovators, the best disruptors in real estate, and I can't think of a perfect guy to have on than you, man. So thanks.
It's your podcast, man. So just quick expectation to set. We're currently at my clubhouse here in Soho, on the corner of West Broadway and Broome. And in like 10 minutes, this might get real loud.
It's all right.
It's just, there's honking, and then what they're doing, they're honking at us. They're like, I need houses. They're also trying to get into the tunnel, but the way I hear it is I'm like, guys, there's just low inventory.
Dude, when I come to the
What do you
Hamptons,
want?
I'm like a cat. I'm used to like quiet and like
Yeah,
serenity.
and then you come into the city and you're just
I
like,
tried to make a turn coming down here and some cop was screaming at me. I was in the wrong lane.
Yep.
So like, I'm just trying to keep my nerves down. But
Yep.
so hopefully I don't freak out if there's too much honking
stay
outside.
calm. Stay calm. It's gonna be okay.
No, I love having you on. I remember back in 2016, I think we had a listing together years ago in the Hamptons. And
Yeah, Main Street.
yeah. And it was like, I guess like take me back to then, like Serhant team was like starting a brokerage always in the cards for you, or where were you at that point?
Not really, man. Like, there's major overhead in the brokerage business. There's, the margins are tight. I always look at like the person that I want to become in 10 years, someone's that person right now.
Yeah.
I'll be my own version, but someone is that person right now. So I think if you had asked me in 2016 to look like, hey, do you want to start your own company? I would have looked at the top CEOs and I would have said, nope,
Yeah,
don't want to be those people.
Yeah.
At that time I was still very much looking at like, who are the top real estate brokers globally?
Yeah.
Right. Residential, commercial, like what are their lives like? What do they do? How do they operate? And I was excited around that time when we first started working together in 2016 about just seeing what expansion felt like and really testing things out in different markets.
Yeah.
Right. Like you are your own brand.
Yeah.
Right. When clients call you, they want you.
Yeah.
Okay, and if it's a certain price point and above, you're probably going to be there and fixing the microwave. If it's a certain price point and below, you have a team, you've got people, you'll still facilitate the transaction, and at the end of the day, the buck stops with you.
Yeah.
Right. So what does that look like if you can't be there at 2:00 ever?
Yeah.
Because you're not there.
Yeah.
And so the Hamptons was kind of like my first test. And that summer of 2016, I took on the Gurney's Resort and did that, and that was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard.
I never you're out there a lot. I never seen a lot of content.
Every weekend.
In that tunnel coming out.
Dude, every weekend. No, that one would take me to Jersey. Every weekend.
See Hamptons guy, go that way.
That's why I got lost. Yeah, I went the wrong way. No, every weekend going out there, and it was just tricky.
Especially Montauk, it's deep.
Yeah, you got to go out there and live it and breathe it. And so I really learned that process during 2016 of how, like, real estate brands can be shopped globally, but they are sold hyper locally.
Yeah, amen. Yeah.
And so, but I started the team in like 2012, built it up through 2020 until I started my own.
It's still
company.
hard teams. I mean, just on a vulnerable level myself, like trying to figure out how to scale, try to grow.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it seems like there's limitations. It feels like teams, you have to go either really small or like really big. I don't know how you feel. I mean, what do you think about teams? I mean, how has team structure changed from then to now, I guess?
Oh, well, when I first started, I started building the SERHANT team in 2012, and it was literally, for me, it was just about being in New York City and handling geography. So it was, okay, I'm based in Soho. I always have been. I'll be based in Soho. I want to be able to meet clients in the Upper East Side within 15 minutes at any given point in time. The Upper West Side within 15, everywhere was just within 15 minutes. So downtown, it could be me. Everywhere else, I needed to expand myself. So I looked at myself almost as like the quarterback of a football team, and then said, okay, if I want to win the Super Bowl, I'm not going at it by myself. I'm going at it with players. I have to have an offensive line. I need tight ends. I need wide receiver. I need running backs. And I want to be able to be a resident agent everywhere. So that way I can work on branding and expanding. That'll be my through line all day long. And then I'll have amazing lieutenants everywhere else. So my team first was, all right, my Upper East Side go-to is Amy, right? My Upper West Side go-to at that time was Roya. And then I just filled out all the neighborhoods, like, and then regional. They would get too busy. And then I would strengthen the neighborhoods is really kind of how it started. And it was small to begin with. And then we just grew out of default. And that's what I tell everybody about building real estate teams is first you have to really write down or type. Why do you want to build a team? If you have inbound lead flow and you need somebody to help you with that, okay, that's a reason. If it's just to make more money, more people equals more problems.
That's what
you become a manager.
That's what I've found out. And I'm like, I feel like it's almost like a small business problem too, right? It's like, the great painter, the great attorney, and he grows and then you get too big, they try to figure out, I'm good at brokering deals, but do this stuff too. And a lot of brokers, it's not like we're educated on this stuff or what the have MBAs.
Exactly.
Most of us,
so no, me neither. I didn't go to business school. I have a degree in English, literature, and theater.
I'm an English major too.
Oh,
man.
what's up?
Let's go.
There you go.
We're gonna talk about Beowulf after this.
No, well, great, dude. Middle Earth, man. Let's go back to it.
I love it, man.
Old English.
The
so then the team started growing, and then I started placing people in like different markets. I tried and failed in LA. It's just that is a tough time zone difference. And it's like I ended up. Really quickly, I was like, yep, I'm an absentee dad. And then why would you be with me? Like if you're in across the country, unless I've set up clear expectations for value proposition, which I just in 2016 I just didn't have. But the team built by 2020 we were 65 people. We did, we were doing a lot. My 2019 GCI was like just over 20 million, and then COVID hit. But I'd already put into plan the activities to go and start our own thing. Because by that point, it's like, where do I go from here?
You kind of hit a level where you're like, okay, what's the next stage? So that's kind of where the SERHANT maybe idea came into around 2020 or so.
Well, it was like 2018 because we had set up a media company. I wrote my first book. We set up the education company, which then became sellit.com this year. So we built all that. So I had all these things while I was at the brokerage. We had 65 people. We had operations, graphic design. We were our own company, right? We were doing all of the new developments. So I had all of the overhead, right, without actually owning the thing. And I just my mindset shift. I looked at all the CEOs of brokerages, and I was like, oh man, I definitely now don't want to be them. You know what? I'm gonna go be better. Because somebody's got to lead the charge for this business into real estate 3.0.
That's what I love about you, man. And that's what I always had in my ethos too, trying to do it better, innovate, elevate. That's why I love having you on it, man, because you totally, and building SERHANT. So I guess when you start to build SERHANT, how did that go? How was that process trying to build a brokerage?
Well, this is somewhat controversial to say, but thank you, COVID. When am I ever going to get you were really, really busy because you were out east. It's probably the busiest year of your life. Right?
We were out in there breaking laws.
In New York,
maybe don't air that.
In the city, everything was shut down. There were bodies in Central Park, right? We had the Red Cross ship. It was the end of the world. And so we had our spring market for just given to us. Hey, you don't have to show, you don't have to go outside. Just, you can do one of two things. One, you could just watch Netflix and chill. Or you really stress yourself out and build a company. And so I chose option two. There were a handful of us who all stayed back in New York City. We didn't go anywhere else for COVID. We all stayed back. And we just built, like, I'll show you on the 3rd floor. We took an office in Soho that was abandoned because all office space was abandoned in the city.
Yeah.
It was a wild 28 Days Later style.
Yeah.
We put up construction paper everywhere, and we just started writing down, all right, so legal, what do we need to do, right? Branding, what do we need to do? Marketing, policy, everything. And I found my CFO pretty quick, because what also happened during COVID, which I did not anticipate, was a lot of amazing talent at a lot of other firms were let go to save costs. And so all of a sudden, all of these great people that I could never get before because of either non-competes or they're being paid so well were like ready to go.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a minute, you're hiring?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to build a new company. They're like, are you sick?
Yeah.
Do you understand that there's a
New York
pandemic?
at the time too was like, is New York ever gonna like rise?
Yeah,
like,
but the newspapers.
It was like real doom and gloom. Yeah.
I know, and I was here like, yeah, let's go. I was in a superhero outfit. It's like, guys, it's all gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. So you guys just got up there and papered a whole wall and started building out what you guys wanted to do. And
yeah, and we started small. I rented a friend of mine has a townhouse in Tribeca that he used as his office. And he left, obviously, because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing with that building?
Yeah.
Because there's no doorman. I didn't have to deal with anybody. Because a lot of the doorman buildings in the city were like COVID protocols, swabs every day. And this was just a townhouse with a door. And he's like, I'm doing nothing. I'm like, I'll give you like $10,000 a month if you just, it'll be my office now for a short period of time. So, okay. So I used that and started onboarding people, building out all of our documentation, all of our processes. And we started 3 companies on the same day. Wow. So we started the brokerage, and from the brokerage, I'm still a broker, but then there's all of the support for the agents, plus also new development, which is a separate arm, right, which is completely separate. And then ID Lab, which is the in-house creative agency. And then over here, we started Sell It Like SERHANT, but just like for real this time, because before it had just been like, hey, let's make a course and see what happens.
Yeah.
But at that point, we had onboarded like 10,000 members around the world. Right now, we're like just about 30,000, but back then it was about 10 or like 9, somewhere in that range.
Your books are really good, man. All this stuff, like even I read your first one. Like,
oh,
I read
thanks.
That game, like Finder Keeper Doer, I think,
Yeah.
is phenomenal.
This
Man.
one.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then we started SERHANT Studios, which is the production company.
Yeah.
We were filming the last season of $1 Million Listing New York at the same exact time. I was filming a separate show about my house renovation in Brooklyn called Ryan's Renovation at the same exact time, and I was writing my second book, Big Money Energy, at the same exact time, and I just had Zena, our daughter, at the same exact time. So all of that was happening all in 2020, plus COVID hit and like all money went away.
Yeah.
Like every deal died, and I was on the phone with lawyers trying to stay litigation because everyone just started suing each other, but the force majeure clauses didn't hold up during 9/11.
Yeah.
And so the case law for COVID meant they didn't hold up during COVID either.
Oh, wow. So
And
you had that.
Yeah, so we had there was a judge for a lot of these cases. He was like, you guys can battle it all out, but 9/11 didn't cancel contracts. This won't.
Wow.
Not in New York.
Wow.
And so everyone just had to settle. So we just started settling townhouse deals and
Yeah.
settling things, and some people walked, and then we'd already had the media company already set up. So whereas everyone else started scrambling to do things in video, we were like, hey, remember that goofy thing that people made fun of us for? We were taking videos of all of our apartments. Well, fuck you guys. Thank you. Here we go. And we flooded the market with all of our content. We just started doing virtual deal after virtual deal after virtual
deal.
deal.
There's a lot of guys that won on TV that hasn't made it. I feel like one thing that always differentiated you, just as a broker, was some of your media game, your YouTube game, your video game. I mean,
yeah, we were early.
Speak to that. I mean, when did that start?
2016.
Yeah.
My first YouTube tour was 2016. So $1 Million Listing premiered in March of 2012. And I kind of saw, not after the first season, but after the third season, so 2015, people were calling. Because at the beginning, no one calls people they see on TV.
Yeah.
You don't watch the Kardashians, and you're like, yo, get Kendall on the phone.
Yeah.
Right? So no one, and there was social following, but it just wasn't the same. And so after this third season, people started reaching out, and they're like, hey, 36 Gramercy Park East, I saw, is it still available? Or what you saw on the show last night? I'm like, well, dude, we filmed it last year. No, it's sold. Did you not finish the episode?
Yeah.
I was like, what if I could do that faster? And then I was on a vacation with my sister and her 2 little kids, who were 9 and 11 or something at the time. And we went to a place that had no TV. And I was like, dude, what the fuck am I going
Yeah,
to do?
yeah,
There's
what
no
are you gonna do?
TV.
Yeah.
And her kids, it's like, dude, we're screwed.
Yeah.
They were totally fine.
Yeah.
All they needed was Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And I guess I didn't spend enough time with little kids. It was like, where, and this was
My
2016.
daughters can FaceTime. They can like.
Dude,
yeah,
but I was like, wait, so what are you guys going to do?
Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean? We have our iPads. Like, well, what about TV? And they're like, what's TV?
it's like the era of streaming, you
Dude,
know. Yeah.
and so at that moment, and like House of Cards was on in 2016,
Yeah.
so like Netflix had just only recently gone into heavy streaming. And so I was like, okay, our future buyers aren't going to watch $1 Million Listing New York. And these kids have influence over their mom.
Yeah.
I know, because we're on this damn vacation because of these fuckers.
Yeah.
So where are they? And they were just watching YouTube. And so I reached out to my my team, my social team. I was like, we need to start doing property tours, like right away.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that works with me, Joe Loresca, at the time, who was like, you need to sort of vlog. And that's what I thought was so stupid. But then I did it anyway. And so we started just doing those, and those, more people watched those
Just
YouTube
more
tours
content, yeah.
and everything.
I wonder where
and any TV show.
My dad's 75 years old. I went over his house like 2 weeks ago. He's got YouTube on. He's
Yeah.
not even watching. He's like,
Dude.
he's a builder. He's watching things
Yeah.
get built. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's-
my parents, yeah,
this is,
same
you
thing.
know, but it's amazing. Like I feel like it's now like I got a $15 million lead in the Hamptons because of a video
Nice.
I recently shot, and I feel like it's even more so now. It's cool that you were so ahead of the game then. I mean, are you guys doing anything with SERHANT Studios now, video different? Like, where's the future of video, you think?
Oh man, so we do a significant amount now compared to what we used to do via lives, right? So I think a lot of
It's
it is
like live
full
stream, right? Like, what do you think about that? That seems like all this stuff is like coming
Yeah.
into it. Like, what do you think? I guess. of
Yeah,
that?
I think there's a play for that in the real estate space. The problem is consistency. With the video game, you can plug in all day, every day. The video game exists and it's right in front of you. You got to like really have a full-time job of going and seeing properties, which can be it can be a lot. So that's tough to do. I tried it. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But I do think that live is going to become more and more prominent. You see it now, even Netflix now.
Yeah.
What they really care about over there is live.
Well, that roast with Tom Brady went
It's
crazy.
huge.
That was huge. Yeah. That
And
went
it's still
nuts.
huge. It's still like number one
yeah,
there.
it seems like then you cut up the short form content.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch roast, but I know clips of the roast because I just go on
Exactly.
Instagram and
Yeah, it's all
anywhere
there.
else, and you see it all over the place.
And now you see, Disney, Hulu, HBO Max, all of those. They're going to wrap them all up and bundle it. So we're just going to get cable back. Live TV is going to come back, and we're just going to run around in a big circle.
Yeah.
But I think for all of us, our ability to create, vertical video short form across all platforms for properties, and what we've really started doing is split screen. So that way, it saves so much time. Because for the last 8 years, I've run around personally and ran through these properties to give tours. And they take time, you got to edit them, they've got to be lit well. Now, what do you really care about? You care about people seeing it,
yeah.
right?
Well, that's what I love. I noticed about you too. Like you just like jump on there and just film something.
Yeah,
and
move
talk
fast.
About, move fast, man. Yeah, for sure. Like, and you just put up your schedule, which I thought was amazing. Actually, made me like, damn, I gotta get better at my own schedule because you're just
People stress me out about that schedule, yeah.
But like you'll just put up there and shoot short form video too, like that. It seems
Yeah.
like that does better sometimes on the social media.
Always now. It's been 2 years since I made a true long form vlog.
Wow.
Just because the market changes, people change, so you got to
Yeah,
pivot.
yeah.
And so we just started doing, vertical short form split screens where I will sit either at our blue wall downstairs or in my office, and I'll talk about the property, just my authentic thoughts, or like the top 5 things I love about this house, and then the B-roll we'll still get, and then we'll put it above. And then what we're also starting to do is I'm trying to find as many efficiencies as I can because, like you saw, my schedule is using AI to do things like, so this is me in Chinese giving a property tour of one of our videos, about one of our.
欢迎来到 Huron 布鲁克林最新的建设住宅开发项目。我迫不及待要向您展示这里的特色，这是我
Dude.
第一次来到完成的大堂。
That's amazing.
在我
I eventually.
AI, so what's your thoughts on AI? Like, what do you like? You're
I think
working on
it's
AI a lot here too, right?
Yeah,
Aren't you
yeah,
guys doing
yeah.
something?
Yes, I think it's a paradigm shift. I think it's a paradigm shift, man. I think it's the democratization of tasks,
Yeah.
And I think eventually you won't even do things on your phone. It's just going to do it all for you, right? So I think you'll have action models that do a lot of that work for you, and there are going to be people that move fast enough to adapt to it, and then people that don't. We use AI for obviously my voice. And then there's a program that we use that does my video. So like you'll start seeing property tours where it's just AI Ryan, AI voice, and I don't have to go there anymore.
Yeah.
And it's the effect is going to be the same. We're getting the content in front of the people.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be able to replace authentic live moments. And I think like star power, even for real estate, is actually going to get even stronger because people are going to care about seeing the real thing more than anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where you saw like the peaks and valleys of NFTs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really exciting at the beginning, but then
It kind of did fizzle.
let that calm down for a second and see where people have real focus.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, you always seem to be so forward thinking from your team to your brokerage. I mean, when you set up SERHANT, like what were you thinking about? You talk a lot about future in your branding, future of real estate. Like, what does the future look like for you, and what were you doing with the brokerage to make it compatible with the future? I guess
A couple things. First, I believe that the process of buying and selling a home and working with people who need to buy and sell homes must be simpler. I think that there was Brokerage 1.0, which was, I want to buy a house. I'm going to go to the real estate agent's office. He's going to tell me what's on the market for sale. If I like him, he'll show me things. We'll see signs out there. Maybe there's a cupcake involved, and we buy it, and there's a significant amount of paperwork, right?
Yeah.
That was 100 years. Brokerage 2.0 is saying, okay, how do I take all that and put it in your phone or your computer, right? And so then you've got Compass, you've got Redfin, you've got all these other firms that said, you know what, we're going to take that as a problem, and the solution is going to be, we're not going to make it simpler, we're just going to make it easier. So now you don't actually have to do a lot of that. We're going to make it easier by putting it in screens. And with every problem that we see, we're going to create a new screen. So now it's like, oh, AI, here's another screen. Go learn it. Go figure it out. It makes things easier, but it doesn't make it simpler. And so in my mind, it was always, I think the greatest value that a brokerage could ever give to a real estate agent is to make their life simpler, right? Whether that's through lead generation, which we do through branding and through creative. So that's why we have the creative agency and we have the film studio and studios, right? Or it's in democratizing their tasks, right? So that the tasks get done for you. So that you say, hey, thank you so much, Brokerage 2.0, for giving me all these screens. But over here at Brokerage 3.0, I don't even need the screens. Because the screens do the work for me. And so that's what we created with Simple. Right? Simple does that work for us.
And are you creating tech, like in-house tech and stuff, like for?
Yeah. I'll show it to you. Hold on, I have a protein shake delivery.
I love that. I need that.
I'll give it to you. It's an energy drink that we own called Update that I was holding that whole time, where they split the caffeine molecule and use paraxanthine, so there's no crash. But there's no crash. There's also no buzz.
Yeah.
So you don't
like either.
Yeah. There's sometimes people like to drink coffee because they get addicted to the feeling.
Yeah.
But then there's everything that comes after it. And so you drink more coffee.
Yeah.
With that, you drink one, and you're like, I don't think it did anything. And at the end of the day, you're like, why do I feel normal?
Yeah.
And I wasn't tired. It's so crazy. This is just.
So you still
protein.
Brokering, like.
Wait, you asked about tech.
Oh yeah, go back into that.
The
stay there.
Hold on. I didn't tell you. Yep. Whoops. Crazy. You got to be careful with me opening my phone.
Yeah,
so
I feel you as a broker. My wife sees me open the phone. She's like, "What are you doing?"
I know. So this is Simple, right? So Simple, SERHANT, Simple. So this is AI. We built it. We announced it in January. We're in beta right now, just with people at the company. Okay. So anything you would want ever done in your life is just done through this. So for example, transaction workflows, like everything's here. There's no need for assistants anymore. Sorry to all the assistants that are watching. All marketing, everything is all in one spot, okay?
It's amazing.
But what it really does, all that's great, and we have agents who just do it that way.
Yeah.
But you would say like, I'm sitting with Matt Breitenbach. I'm on his podcast right now. He has a new house on
Mecox Road.
on Mecox Road, and he needs a CMA and a listing presentation sent to the seller, and also put a calendar invite in his calendar for tomorrow morning at 9:15 so he doesn't forget. Add it to his follow-up process as well, just so that he has everything in order, please. Thanks. So you would do that, right? and then you would just check it for any errors. So, I mean, I don't know if it'll catch how I said your name. Hold on. I can look.
There it
See?
goes. Yeah.
So then you go here. So you go through, right? It catches all the audio, and then I would just send it. Now I didn't give it an actual address, but like if I gave it an actual address, everything I just told it to do now just happens without issue.
Really?
And the follow-up process are put into place. All the work gets done. All the CMAs, the pricing. Yeah, man. They're out there right now. They bump into someone on the street and they're like, "Hey, I've seen everything in Soho." So here it is already. So it's Matt's CMA listing and reminder already.
Wow,
So it's
yeah.
automated there, right? And then we're going to watch the process like a Domino pizza tracker. So now it's at red, and slowly it'll go through.
So if you wanted to create, say, you can create a marketing, say you wanted your marketing manager or whatever, you want to create a marketing something.
Yep. So you can go here. So if I just want to chat with one of the advisors, I'll just go in here and chat, and I'll type them whatever, like, "Hey, I forgot X, Y, or Z," right? And what you can also do is you can go through here and you can start to add collaborators. So like for your team and everything, like, "Hey, this is a task, but I'm going to add Tom as my collaborator on the task, just so that he knows this is happening, so that he can do what he needs to do."
Yeah.
And really what it is actually, I don't want to tell you what it is.
You don't have to.
I want to be kind of careful here. I end up talking too much all
That's
the
like
time.
my problem myself, so I get it. But no, it's amazing. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of built almost like a project management, task management, but specifically for real estate, which is nice.
Yeah, for sales teams.
With AI.
Yeah, for sales teams.
You know.
Yep.
So you feel like that's probably the future. That's cool. So you're working a lot on the technology. end of
Turns
things.
everything. Yeah, we spend a lot of time on that. Makes everything simple.
Yeah.
Simple. You know, because it's like I had the idea because I was dealing with banks, and like I couldn't figure out something on Chase.com,
Yeah.
and the person on the other end of the phone was like, "But it's so easy. Just go click on that thing on the right." I'm like, "I promise you, I'm trying to click on the thing on the right."
You understand technology.
And the woman kept saying to me,
Yeah.
"But it's so easy."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but it's just not. But it's not simple.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, even when I was a kid, getting my first paycheck from cutting lawns and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there was no internet, right?
Yeah.
And so, but you would take that check, you would go to the bank,
Yeah.
and you're done.
That's it.
And it was super simple. Now it wasn't easy because I had to get in the damn car. I had to wait till my mom drove me down there. I couldn't see everything else. If you want to deal with your investments, they're over here. And then so like, but it was super simple. And then all screens did was make things easier, but it removed all the simplicity.
Yeah.
So especially for us as salespeople, like you see this, like we're in this now for an hour, and then you're going to be in commuting, and then you'll be running around, and then you meet somebody, and they're like, "Shit, did I answer that?" And then all of this stuff's going to happen. So yes, things are easier, but they're just not.
I compare this
simple.
business to like always feeling like you're late for an airplane.
Oh,
Like,
dude, all the
that's
time.
the feel. Like you just
That's my
feel
whole
like
life.
yeah. Like even like we were joking off camera. Like you can answer all those texts. I'm like I struggle. It's like funny. Like
Yeah.
I guess that's what I want to get into. It's like I love that you still consider all the success and all these things you do. You still consider yourself like a real estate broker. And I guess like how do you do that?
There's a team that came, one of the earlier teams to join the company. Because like when we started, I don't know, like if you started your own company,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you'd have a lot more confidence than I did, but
Yeah.
like I didn't,
probably
dude, I didn't know. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know if people were going to want to, I knew people wanted to join my team.
Yeah.
I had a team for a long time. I did that for a long time. I knew why people wouldn't join my team either.
Yeah.
It's like, if I go start my own company, are people going to want to join like Ryan's little real estate company?
Yeah.
You know, I have big visions, but I got to operationalize the vision first.
Yeah.
And so a team that joined, there was a big team that joined early on, in 2020, and they're still here today. And they explained to somebody else, and they tell agents all the time, like, "Dude, you got to just go talk to Ryan. Like, go talk to Ryan, go talk to Paul, go talk to the team over there." Because people ask them, "Hey, how come you made that switch?
Yeah.
You're doing really well over the last 4 years." And the way he described it was, listen, yes, things at Serhant are cool. It's fun. It's different. Everything was fast. But at the end of the day, it was started by a dude who was a realtor who just wanted it to be done better.
Yeah.
And if someone at the top of the heap is going to be making decisions around my career, I want them to have also been late to a rental showing. Yeah. I want them to have also gotten yelled at by a
like
seller.
you've been in the trenches, man. You understand it. You get it. Like,
Yeah.
You understand the game, which is so powerful. So how's it going? Like you're expanding, you're going to different markets. I mean, how's it been since you start the brokerage? You started in New York, and then you're like were talking a little bit about Palm Beach before. I mean, what markets are you in, and what's the goal? Like, you trying to go everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, like, I never set out to do anything small, but I am moving cautiously at our own pace.
Yeah.
Like, we're much bigger now than we were when we started, but we are, like, finances are great.
Mm-hmm.
We are profitable, like, we're smart. I could spend $1 million to do that thing over there, or I could spend $78,000 and just make it fucking painful.
Yeah.
I'll take the pain.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think my back being up against a wall because I'm doing this by myself has just always proven to be the right way to do it. And so, yeah, we started in 2020 just in New York. In 2021, on the brokerage side, we really worked on our foundation. Like, what is the foundation of this business? Is it going to work? Okay, it worked. 2022, all right, great. What do the walls look like? What's the roof look like? What are the systems and processes? So we did that. 2023, we then started expanding. So I went on the same day, we opened up Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Florida. This year we opened Georgia in Q1, Orlando, and a bunch of other sub-markets. And we're continuing to grow as people like our value prop. If you don't like our value prop, we won't do it.
Yeah. I mean, so when you're expanding these areas, you kind of like, are you like looking first, or you have targets, or do people come to you more? Like, how does it organic? Like,
it's a bit of both. It's probably what you guys see. Like, agents who are here, like, oh, we got to go here. I've got my best friend, and they connect us, and we have a conversation. We have policy and we have requirements for what will allow us to open a market. But I say it over and over and over again. Like, I'm here for a long time, not a good time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is my life.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't start the company as a widget to then raise money and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, this is my life. I still broker deals, not nearly as many as I used to. I focus on the bigger things, and I work with our agents in all our markets and try to get creative. Like, for example, there's an agent we have in the Hamptons who's been with me for a long time. His name is Jack Richardson.
Yeah.
Young, hungry guy.
Yeah. Love Jack.
Right. He has a deal right now on Fort Dune.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the house, good house.
Yep. So the ask is $25 million.
Yeah.
The house is like 80% complete.
Yeah.
Right. So it's tricky. So my value on that deal is this Friday, the one that just passed, talk to them, and they're like, what should we do? We should move it. I'm like, here's what you're going to do. On Monday, literally today, 2 hours ago, you're going to drop the price to 12.5 and see what happens. It's not an auction. It's nothing else. Freeze the marketplace and see what happens. If no one shows up, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And just see. And then use that. But because I've done that before a lot of times, and it works every single time.
Talk about disruption, man. That's a cool strategy. That's tough to get someone to kind of, hey, let's cut this thing by $15 million, $10 million. And
Dude,
like,
so,
yeah.
Years and years ago, I went to Australia.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to all the brokers there, and the biggest question they had for me, because they would watch $1 Million Listing, is, so wait a minute, who determines the listing price in America?
Yeah.
It's like, well, the seller does, and we do. And they're like,
Yeah.
and you just put that on the internet?
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, that's how people come. And to them, mind blown.
Yeah.
In Australia, they have reserve prices. So if you think it's worth 10, it's listed as a reserve at 7, and then buyers search based on what they can afford in a range.
Oh, wow.
So they're not missing your property. And then everything's on the market for 30 days. The seller covers all costs, and it sells after a month or it doesn't.
Yeah.
So they call them auctions. To me, I hear the word auction, and I'm like, that's negative.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad.
I
That's
agree.
distress.
Yeah.
For them, having a seller put it on the market for 12 when it's actually worth 10, and having it sit there for 6 months, that's distress.
Yeah.
And a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah.
I was like, So I came back to the U.S. We were selling a Kushner townhouse from their development portfolio on the Upper West Side. A previous broker had it 16 million. Then they dropped it to 14. And then they were going to give it to me at 12.
Wow.
Right? And I was like, guys, I just went to Australia.
This is what the deal
I
is.
have an idea.
Yeah.
What do you want to sell it for? And that's where most people have a hard time. Like, anything above 10. If we get 10 or above, that would be great. It's like, well, the comps are actually 9 to 10. So if we get you 10, take it and run. Here's what we're going to do. Instead of pricing at 12, we're going to price it at 6. And it's going to be 50% off for a week. See what happens. Eventually, somebody's going to stop this from happening because it does disrupt the market for a week. and
Yeah.
it freezes the marketplace and everyone has a panic attack. But we had 80 people come through in 5 days.
You create that urgency.
We had
create that
20.
energy,
We had 20 offers,
Yeah.
and a bunch of people were right around 10, and we sold it to one guy for $10 million. And he would have sat there and waited for the price to come down for 6
Yeah.
months.
I've done that in the Hamptons, but not to that degree. But I got a really cool Lanford Wilson house at Sag Harbor, was just major captain's house. And I remember going into that, and the guy was the ex-secretary of state for the UK. It was I was pitching against every top broker, had the whole crew, every top broker. And I'm like, kind of like you, I'm like a little bit of the younger guy, like I'm not that, of these guys that have been doing it 20, 30 years. And I came in and underpriced it by like probably 3 to 5 million less than everybody else.
Yeah.
And this guy was like a very stern UK politician, and it was not an easy drop, but we sold it full price within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I feel like if more brokers have that kind of conversation, a lot more real estate will move fast, but it's hard. It's cool
I think
that
if
you do that.
sellers paid agents by the hour, property would be priced far more
Oh,
realistically.
yeah, we do that in the Hamptons too, because there's guys that they're not going to name names, but they'll just take it. It's 1% commission, crazy prices.
You know what I learned in the Hamptons from those guys
Yeah.
is the strategy of overprice,
Yep.
over communicate, allows you to oversell. So it can work
Yeah.
if you do the middle part.
They get an email every week to people, and it's like, this is what's going on, and we do all this stuff, and it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of fluff, but they don't. Actually, I had a guy on my team. We ran all the numbers, and if you look at their sell-off ask, it's ridiculously high. Like their percentage off their original ask is
it's huge.
is through the roof, which
Yeah.
is just not good. I mean, it should be more public what that happens.
Yeah.
This has been really fun, Ryan. I mean, I guess like going back to like broker, like say I'm coming in here, like what a guy like me,
Yeah.
what's your pitch? Like that may be coming at SERHANT.
When's your
Hopefully don't get a
compass,
call
when's your,
from
when's your compass when's your compass contract up, and what are your clawbacks like? What are those golden handcuffs? How tight are they, man? Those handcuffs are like they're just the blood and the wrists.
Well, what's the pitch like for a broker? Listen, for me, trying to build a team, scale a team, that's always been a pain point. Trying to figure
Yep.
that out.
So
What do you do with a
there's-
guy like me? Guy's been in Hamptons a while. It's a good amount of
There's-
business, but
yeah, there's significant value proposition. Okay, so first and foremost, what I care the most, and like every time I meet with any agent, or Elva, who runs the Hamptons for us, meets with any agent, or in any of our other markets, because I did this process in from 2017 to 2019. I went and met with everyone. I met with Robert. I met with the Zeckendorfs. I met with Howard Lorber. I met with Pam Lee. Everybody.
all the
Because I didn't want to. I was
five
like,
kings.
Yeah. So I met with them all.
Yeah.
And the through line from all of them was, if you come to us, we're going to make you better. We use this. We're this. We're this. All of this is going to make you this. Okay? If you come to us, we're going to make you better. And I was like, okay, I get it. But I feel like there's got to be a way where if I work with you, you should be better for me. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm the one doing the business.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to give me guaranteed leads,
Yeah.
which we have here because we have a massive marketing funnel and a new TV show coming out on Netflix in June, and like a significant amount of lead flow that comes through where everyone here is super happy, right? So we have that. The other firms don't. And none of them wanted to hear that. They're like, well, we got bureaucracy, the politics of this. I'm like, yeah, so I blame every other real estate CEO for forcing me to do this, to be completely honest. Like, I would have been totally happy just going someplace and like, yes, you get it.
Yeah.
And so we have an in-house production studio, so you never have to think about content creation. You can do your own thing as much as you want, but we're there. They're also based in the Hamptons. We have in-house creative agency that is also based out in the Hamptons as well.
Yeah.
All content, all creative, everything
What
you
do I
need.
do for agents, like branding,
Exactly.
whatever.
Yep. And then 3, what we really do is really look at, okay, let's say you come to us in a year from now. What is true? Where you're happy?
Yeah.
Is it you have a well-oiled machine as a team with a great dynamic? Is it you have a clear and concise brand and you're starting to take greater market share on the ocean? Is it you actually have more time for your family because you're now using Simple, and holy shit, how did you not have that before?
Yeah.
Everyone's a little bit different, and we will custom create what that process looks like. Then you work with me, and then there's lead flow, and then there's things we get to do together, especially in the Hamptons. And it works out on top of everything else.
Yeah. I mean, how do you do it all? I mean, like, how do you, pouring these agents? How do you? I mean, you got a daughter, wife, like all this stuff, family stuff. I mean, how do you?
I totally just forgot that I had a family. Until you just reminded me. I was like,
you
wait, what time
reminded
is
me
it?
too. I think we said family, so we both reminded each other.
Exactly.
No, I mean it's a lot. I mean it's amazing. I'm inspired by. I've always been inspired by you. I think you're incredible energy. What you do, what you've accomplished, and continue to accomplish. I mean,
Thanks, man.
It's awesome.
Same.
But
Same.
it's a lot of hats.
It is a lot of hats. It's all about the people and surrounding yourself with the right people, being quick to hire, but also quick to fire, right? And quicker to promote.
Yeah.
That's been really important. I learned that one the hard way. I also learned I learned all of these the hard way.
Yeah.
And then allowing those people to have freedom, but also understanding that the buck stops with you and letting them know 3 things. 1, never tell me what I want to hear. If you do that, we will all go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Never tell me what I want to hear. 2, you are now solution oriented only. It's really, really easy to point out the problems. It's really hard to point out the solutions.
I found that myself too. You just keep focused on the damn problems.
Yeah, bring me solutions. Tell me the problem and what are your 3 ideas for solutions? That's how we're going to build and grow.
Yeah.
And then 3, just like you read in the first book, it's follow through, right, on everything. If you say you're going to do something, do it when you say you're going to do it. Because you're only as good as your reputation.
Follow up again, follow through.
Yeah, follow up, follow through, follow back. The 3 Fs.
So amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then a bunch of other things.
Like, what's the end game for you? Like, is it always real estate? I mean, where are you going with this SERHANT ship? I mean, where's it going?
Yeah.
Elon to the moon, Mars.
Oh my God. No, this is there's a holding company here. Sell It just rebranded to sellit.com a month ago. And so that's Salesforce for sales training. Real estate, we are making simple and expanding as quickly and as at pace as we're comfortable with. Studios is what they're really building is HGTV for Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
They're involved in the Netflix show and everything else that we've been working on and are really democratizing content.
I don't think people talk about that enough. Example, like Phil Knight from Nike's 85 years old, right?
Yeah.
His son is a millennial, and it's going to be all that transfer of wealth that's going to millennials and Gen Z. That's going to be happening.
So where do they meet these people?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we just agreed to I'll show it to you. When will this come out?
Probably, I think we usually do not this month and the month after, so 2 months from now.
Okay, so this will be out by then. But this is the new, so Netflix will announce this next week.
Yeah, I've heard you teasing some of this stuff.
Yeah,
so well, how's this different than the Bravo stuff? I mean,
well, Bravo's over.
I know, but I'm saying is it a different premise? Like, what's the?
So this show is it's called Owning Manhattan. It starts in New York City because that's where we started, and then kind of watches us as we grow and expand, and it follows myself and a bunch of other agents here as we do deals throughout the city. So it's $1 million listing, but just me, not the other guys. Meets like Succession with a little humor.
Yeah,
it's kind of what
you're great. You're great on TV, and you got a great.
It's what it feels like.
So it's cool.
Yeah, it'll be super stressful to watch. So make sure you tune in.
One thing I want to get to, and we'll wrap it up. But I think one thing I always ask, and I think it's a great question. I mean, what worries you? What keeps you up at night? You wake up at 2 a.m.
Dude,
what's on your mind?
To be completely honest, I feel like it was just yesterday when I moved to New York City and was very, very quickly running out of money because the city's so expensive. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget running out of money at the grocery store, and crying in the subway. What do I do at that point? So even though my life is very, very different now, I still react that way. Mm-hmm. And so I'd say in the middle of the night, I still think about all right, what is our payroll now?
Yeah.
What do I pay for this building?
Yeah.
I think about things not working. I think about just realizing dreams and creating reality from vision and just moving as quickly as we can. All those things, man.
It's got to be heavy. All this stuff, all the people, especially the brokerage, everything. It's on top of you.
Yeah, and I think whether they do or they don't, they put a lot of responsibility on my shoulders by saying, hey, listen, I could work by myself. I could do a totally different job. I could be at any other firm. All these other firms are offering us money, but I'm going to choose you, and I'm going to attach myself to this rocket ship. Yeah. Don't let me down. And so I feel that, right? Yeah. There's across markets now, there's just under 600 people here On the agent side, there's like 150 employees, and so that's it's a lot of people that keep me up at night now.
Yeah.
And it's not just because they text me and call me the whole time.
Yeah. And on top of that, everything else, yeah. So, Ryan, this has been amazing, man. I won't keep you too much. I know you got a busy day. But
All good, man. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure.